I only recently learned about the Golden Palace, and I have to say, it's pretty delightful. Today I'm only talking about the first episode, and that was going to be my plan. I was going to watch the first episode and discuss it, but I watched the first episode and ended up watching about 6 or 7 episodes immediately after because it's really, really good. This is the spin off to the Golden Girls. I finished watching the Golden Girls and, well, immediately watch this. As I said, I was going to watch the first episode, and it's pretty great. I don't want to talk too much about the ending of the Golden Girls, but I will just say I don't like the ending of the Golden Girls. I think the last episode or the last 2 episodes are really, really terrible. There were a lot of missed opportunities for a lot of strong emotion, but just the concept in general, I don't like it. I don't think it was the best decision to do what they had to do. And I guess I'm about to spoil what happens to one of the characters at the end of the Golden Girls because I need to discuss that to then explain what happens with the Golden Palace. So I'm not going to say exactly what happens at the end of the Golden Girls, but I will just say if you haven't finished watching that yet, I probably will end up spoiling something. So definitely finish watching it before carrying on listening to me if you're interested in whether or not I recommend this. But to sum up, so far, yes, I do recommend the Golden Palace. So the Golden Girls ended with Dorothy leaving. And as I said, I don't agree with how she left. I think there were other more realistic things they could have done, but I won't go into that just now. And the Golden Palace takes place some time later, and the 3 remaining girls, Blanche, Rose, and Sophia, have bought a hotel, the Golden Palace. And Blanche always wanted to own a hotel, and they all have different things they can bring to this, and this is obviously introducing us to the hotel. And as a first episode, it is really strong. This is directed by Terry Hughes, and I will go through everything chronologically and share some thoughts. This is not my raw thoughts on the first episode because I have watched several episodes after the fact, but in general, it's a solid episode and it really lays the foundation for some really great things to come. It actually starts off with the same theme music, slightly different. It's not exactly the same, but the lyrics are the same, the tune is the same, and I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting this to be not completely separate to the Golden Girls, but I thought it would at least have its own theme tune, and it doesn't. And I don't know if I love that because it's still keeping with the Golden Girls, or if I hate it because every time I hear it, it makes me nostalgic for the Golden Girls. I don't really have any strong opinions either way, but I just wasn't expecting it. And we actually start off, and this made me really emotional, bearing in mind I just watched the last episode. We start off in the house, an almost empty house with furniture being moved out, and it was emotional, but I thought it was a nice way to start things off. And they confirm really quickly that they've bought a hotel. The next scene is at the hotel. Really nice colour scheme. It's got a very soft, delicate colour palette, very much in keeping with the colours of the Golden Girls, which I thought was a really good decision. And then we meet various characters who are going to become prominent figures throughout. And the first thing I noticed, well, not immediately, but within about 5-10 minutes, I noticed there's a lot more diversity here in terms of race and age. They're definitely, I imagine they definitely made a conscious decision to make things a bit more diverse. We meet Roland, played by Don Cheadle, who is currently in charge of the hotel while he's waiting for the new owners to arrive. And he's I'd say the only character of the 3 that we meet who I loved immediately. There was something about this character that I really took to, and that has continued throughout the episodes that I've seen. We also meet the chef, Chuy, played by Cheech Marin, and he's a fabulous character. It took me maybe a couple of episodes to warm up to him as a character, but certainly we have a good introduction. And we also meet Oliver, played by Billy L. Sullivan, and he is a young boy, and Roland is actually fostering him. And we don't get to know him too much in this episode, but he is a really great character as well, and there are some fun moments with him further down the line. We also learn very quickly that the hotel isn't in the best of shape. Rose panics, and she mentions Dorothy. And up until this point, and I feel like it was maybe about halfway through the episode, I actually hadn't really thought of Dorothy. And I guess maybe that's because I'm only 10 minutes into the Golden Girls without Dorothy. But it just feels natural to have the three of them. Dorothy's great, I wish she was there, but it doesn't feel for me like there's this gaping hole. It still works with just Rose, Blanche and Sophia. And again, having seen a good chunk of these episodes, I can confirm that that continues to be the case. It would be fantastic if she was there, but it still works with just the three of them. And they then get to work. Sophia's in the kitchen, Rose is behind the desk. There's a funny scene where Rose is about to be robbed, but she doesn't understand what's happening, and the robber gets fed up and leaves to go to a different hotel. And then it ends with them putting all of the bits together, making things work a little bit more smoothly, and they're happy, and they serve cheesecake, and we end in a very sweet and positive way. And I think this episode really helps lay the foundations for what is turning out to be a really great season. And it's just a shame that it didn't last very long. Now, I might change my mind about that by the time I get to the end of the season, but I'm really thoroughly enjoying it. Yes, it is a little bit random that Blanche wanted to buy a hotel, but at the same time, it makes it a little bit fresh and a little bit different. I do think that had they just continued the Golden Girls at the house without Dorothy, I think her absence would have been felt much more strongly, and it might have been a little bit more emotional and a bit more difficult to watch. Whereas giving us a different environment, new characters, it makes it feel the same but different. And I think it works really well, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. This is a solid first episode. It establishes that it's very much like the Golden Girls, but with some differences. The comedy style as well is very much the same. And the characters, this probably doesn't need to be said, but Blanche, Sophia and Rose are still very much the same characters. I don't think anything about them is different, even though we're in a different location. And I really enjoyed it. I really wasn't expecting to. I was going to watch it anyway, but I had a feeling I wouldn't love it. Now, I'm not saying I enjoyed it as much as the Golden Girls, but in its own way, it's pretty fabulous. Again, maybe I'll change my mind. I'm only about halfway through at the moment, but for now, I'm pleased to say that the Golden Palace is seeming like a pretty great show, and as a first episode, the pilot is pretty fantastic.